Ladies and gentlemen, this is KD at KDRF Sports TV, bringing you the best in sports talk and highlights. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and hit the bell notification so you're always locked in with us. I got a special guest, Lenny Moon. And what we're going to discuss, and he'll give you all this information um, so y'all can get down and get jizzy with him. But we're going to discuss the evolution of the black quarterback in the NFL. So I'm just going to uh, just give a little brief synopsis of it, and then he's gonna jump in and he's gonna just take it where it needs to go. But this is a piece that he wrote. The opportunity for blacks to play the quarterback position in the NFL has been a gradual process that came equipped with an innate resistance for the slot, referred to as field general. That's interesting, y'all. So you got to pay attention to words I'm saying. And he's going to further explain that. The quarterback is unquestionably the leader of their offense, and in most instances, their entire team. Blacks have always played the position and excelled as the signal caller, even during the era when a quarterback called their own plays, but not in the NFL. In a society that often doesn't subscribe to equity, especially in leadership roles, the black attempting to play the quarterback position constantly collided with the ironclad wall designed to keep them on the outside of it. Fast forward the clock to the third decade in the 21st century, and there were a record 15 of 32 NFL teams, NFL franchise, excuse me, black quarterback on opening day of the 2024 campaign. Collectively, five of this contingent has 3 years of experience or less, with Washington's Jaden Daniels, Chicago's Caleb Williams check in as rookies. There are 4 Heisman Trophy winners in this group and 2 of the finalists. This edition will focus on part 1 of the 2-segment AFC Black Opening Day starters, with part 2 AFC will follow. And that's what we're going to do. Now, to my guests, let's wrap with Lenny Moon. Come on, Lenny. Tell me what you got to say.
Thanks, Kevin, for inviting me, man. I certainly appreciate it, man, to have a chance to chop it up with the guys knowledgeable and as experienced as you are, not only about the topic of the black quarterback, or the evolution of the black quarterback and the National Football League, but your depth goes way beyond that, man. So it's a pleasure and an honor, man, to be on your platform. But in regards to just an overview, I mean, you did a pretty good job of giving your audience an overview of the topic of the black quarterback, of the evolution of the black quarterback in the National Football League. I guess I go back to, from a journalistic standpoint, around the time that Warren Moon arrived on the scene here in the Houston area. That's where I'm headquartered, in the greater Houston, Texas area. And when Warren came along as a quarterback, that was not only, he wasn't drafted by the Oilers, but he came to town as a free agent. And Warren's story, and I like to start with Warren's story, Kevin, because it's so freaking compelling. Warren was the kind of guy that came out of the University of Washington in the late 70s, maybe like 78, I want to say was his last year, 78, 79 was his last year at the University of Washington. It was called the Pac-8 conference at that time. I think it was Pac-12. That was the Pac-8 during the time that Warren came through. So Warren was the Pac-8 Player of the Year, Power 5 conference Player of the Year. And Warren also led the University of Washington in his last game that he played for the Huskies to a Rose Bowl victory over powerful Michigan, a Big Ten, another Power 5. So you would think, that a guy with these credentials would be a high first round pick, just based on any measurable criteria, that one could do. But yet Warren had mentioned to me on a couple of occasions, in interviews, that they wanted to switch positions, which was common with black quarterbacks even prior to Warren. That they would be a star quarterback on the collegiate level, and in order to have an opportunity to play professional ball, that the league would have them to change positions, wide receiver, cornerback, this, that, and the other, something other than quarterback. And so Warren went to Canada. I'm pretty sure a lot of your audience may be aware of the story. He was undrafted as a quarterback. He was asked to come on as a free agent at a different position. And so Warren said, I'm a quarterback, so I'm going to where, I can apply my trade. And so he went to Canada, the Canadian Football League. And so he was there for 6 years. And so 5 of those 6 years, he won the Grey Cup, which is equivalent to the Super Bowl here. He was a world champion in Canada 5 of those 6 years that he was there. And so after that 6 year, then all of a sudden, the NFL owners created a bidding war for his services. Now, this is a guy that the NFL wanted no part of as a quarterback, 6 years before. 6 years later, after he wins 5 of the 6 championships during the time he was there, now all of a sudden these guys are trying to outbid each other for his services. And so the Houston Oilers wound up outbidding everybody else. Bud Adams, the former owner of the Oilers, and later the owner of the Tennessee Titans once they left town and went to Tennessee. But the same Bud Adams was the guy, that won the bid. And so Warren arrived here in Houston. They were like 84, I want to say it was his first year here in town. And once he arrived here, the quarterback in any city, if you have a professional franchise there, the quarterback in any city is going to be the guy. I mean, he's going to get all of the endorsement opportunities. He's going to be the spotlighted guy. And he's going to be the kind of guy that's more popular than the mayor. And so Warren was that kind of guy. And Warren was built for that, man. Very articulate, nice dress. I mean, tailor-made suits. You could not catch him off guard. He was one of those kind of guys, man, that was on top of it.
Okay, Lenny. All right. I'm not stopping you on that, but I want the audience to really understand where you come from. Black College Football Hall of Fame. Speak on that just for a minute and let the audience know what you're able to vote on. And then we'll just jump back on in. I apologize for
That's all good, man. I mean, there's so much ground to cover with that subject, man. It's kind of hard to kind of condense it. the different levels of it would make sense. I mean, but going back to the black, you speaking of the Black College Football Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Okay, the Black College Football Hall of Fame is similar to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in the sense that the Black College Football Hall of Fame is going to consider what you did as a black college football player. Now, you could have blown up in the National Football League, and not saying that has nothing to do with the points that particular candidate accumulates. I mean, but most of the points that player accumulates is what that player did at the HBCU, at the Black College. I mean, it's called the Black College Football Hall of Fame for a reason. And if it was a Jackson State player, I mean, what kind of career did that player have at Jackson State?
But you're able to vote, though.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I'm on the selection committee. But that's one of the reasons I broke it down that way. That's a big part of what we look at. We don't look at how great that player evolved to on the next level. We put more emphasis on what that player did when that player was an HBCU player. And this is a Black College Hall of Fame, not just a football Hall of Fame.
Yep. All right. I just wanted people to understand who I'm speaking to on the phone. You feel what I'm saying? Because they may not know that you voting for folks to be in the Black Football Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
All right. So continue on about the revolution, man. Because
and just to kind of summarize that Warren Moon part, because Warren Moon is such a big part of the foundation of a conversation like this. And let me also share with the audience, that Warren Moon is the only black quarterback ever in the history of the process that's ever been selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's another reason I put so much emphasis on Warren. He was here. I used to go to his practices with the Oilers. I got to know him personally. Yes, I connected with his foundation that he created while he was here in Houston. But also, above and beyond that, he's the only black quarterback in the history of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And if anybody, don't want to believe that part and want to challenge me on it, look it up. Google it, please. I mean, it's just a fact. And so that's another reason that I like to begin with him, because he's such a foundational figure. With a qualified star, all conference, all Power 5 conference quarterback. Just won the Rose Bowl. Seemed like the stock would be going higher.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he still could not get an opportunity to play the quarterback position as a black quarterback during the time that he was trying to do it in the late 70s.
All right. I got a question.
Yeah.
Now, I know what else we're going to talk about. So how would you liken that to the one and only Shedeur Sanders?
Well, all of it is connected, Kevin, and all of it is connected in the sense that had there not been a Warren Moon, had there not been a Doug Williams, Super Bowl hero Doug Williams, had it not been for Michael Vick, and had it not been for Randall Cunningham and some others we can name, there would not have been a path that was paved for a guy like Shedeur Sanders as a black quarterback in the National Football League. There was such, and like you read earlier, man, there was such a resistance to keep that opportunity, and with an emphasis on opportunity, to keep that opportunity from happening for the black quarterback. Steve McNair, I think you and I were talking about this another time. I remember when Steve McNair was a Heisman Trophy candidate. I mean, just visualize a Heisman Trophy candidate coming from an HBCU, Alcorn State, during the when Steve came out, it was uh, the mid '90s, like '95. I mean, but a black quarterback coming from an HBCU, that's a bona fide Heisman Trophy candidate that's coming out of an HBCU in 1985. But I'm still gonna get back to your Shadur question.
Yeah, I think he finished. I think Steve finished like uh third or fourth, something like that.
Yeah, it could have been third or fourth, somewhere in that range. I mean, but and Steve was where the third came from. Steve was selected with the third pick of the 1985 NFL draft by the same Houston August.
Yes.
By the same guy, Bud Allen. I mean, but one of the things that they were trying to marginalize Steve about was they said that he scored a low score on the Wonderlic.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with a guy's ability to lead a team and to be a quarterback in the National Football. I mean, but they come up with these barriers.
Yes.
I mean, they're artificial. I know that they're artificial barriers.
Yes.
But they're barriers nonetheless.
So that's similar to what they're saying about how Shadur. I know we're getting off topic, but
No, it's all connected. It's all connected.
how he performed in the interviews, and me personally, I just don't believe that. You know, here it is. Your father is a Hall of Famer. And you mean to tell me that he didn't tell you how to perform in an interview? I just don't. That's hard to believe.
Well, we're going back to those barriers that they create.
Yes.
When it comes to a black quarterback being considered to lead an NFL team, to even participate as a quarterback in the National Football League. I will share with you, and this is tied into your question too. I will share with you James Shaq Harris. You know, some of your audience might be aware of him. James Shaq Harris was the first black quarterback to play in the Pro Bowl in 1974. And so now, a guy from Grambling, a quarterback from Grambling, before Doug Williams. As a matter of fact, he was Doug Williams' mentor, but before Doug Williams. And James Shaq Harris and Doug, coincidentally, created that Black College Football Hall of Fame that you referenced earlier, that I'm a selected committee member with. They founded that. They created that. Two Grambling guys, two HBCU guys created that. You know, in conjunction with the National Football League. I mean, but they created that. But going back when James, we call him Shaq. That's his middle name. His nickname. We call him Shaq. So when Shaq was coming along, his first training camp, he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills during the time that O.J. Simpson was there. As a matter of fact, he and O.J. Simpson arrived at the same time, 1968, 69, somewhere in that time frame. And so the offensive lineman and Shaq were having issues getting the snap count right. They kept messing up on the snap count. So the coach, I shut it down, called everybody to the side. I said, guys, I mean, what is the deal? Why are you guys continuing to mess up on the snap count? And so the white guy spoke up, the offensive lineman, all of them were white at the time. And so they spoke up and said, we can't understand his diction.
Wow, we just heard that. Go ahead. Keep on going. Yep.
We can't understand his diction, but that's another one of those artificial barriers, Kevin. They'll come up with when it comes to blocking that opportunity, with an emphasis on opportunity. Blocking that opportunity for a black quarterback to play the position in the National Football League.
That's I believe they said something similar about Shadur.
Okay.
About that. But check this out. Let's talk about the AFC quarterbacks.
Okay. Are you gonna call them out?
Yeah, I'm gonna call them out.
Okay.
Because we're still talking about black quarterbacks.
It's all connected, man. I don't care what era. Just like you said, some issues with them understanding where he was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back to 1969, James Jack Harris,
Mm-hmm.
rookie, Buffalo Bills, and they're saying that they couldn't understand the way he spoke and where he was coming. I mean, it's the same thing. It's all connected.
All right, check this out.
Okay.
Jacoby Brissett, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Anthony Richardson.
Well, Brissett is interesting in this sense. Brissett was with New England.
Yes.
When New England was getting ready to play Atlanta in the Super Bowl here in Houston, and I covered that Super Bowl. And I remember talking to Brissett on the side, away from all this hysteria, when you cover a Super Bowl. But I felt he came out of North Carolina State, ACC, another, power. I think the ACC is the Power 5 conference, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, another Power 5 conference. And he was playing behind, Brady, of course. Tom Brady was still, the GOAT was still in the mix at the time that they played that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but Brissett came across to me, man, as being a guy that was going to have a job for a lot of years in the National Football League. He understood what the strengths were. He understood what his shortcomings were. And he still, I think, learned enough from Belichick and Brady, it's not like he's a scrub, but of course, being a frontline quarterback in the National Football League for an extended period of time, that might not be his calling. But Brissett is going to be the kind of guy, in my humble estimation, that's going to be around 10 to 12 years. The second or third string quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And who was the second, Lamar?
Yes.
Now Lamar Jackson, man, we're talking about a Heisman Trophy winner at Louisville.
But they wanted him to play receiver.
Yes, sir. They did. And I have a lot of respect for Lamar, and I always have a lot of respect for Lamar because Lamar would not allow them to change his position as a quarterback.
Yes.
Evaluate me as what I am. Don't evaluate me by what you want me to be. And so the guy won a Heisman, in college, and he's won 2 or 3 NFL MVPs since he's been in the league. So he made the right decision.
Right. And that is what you just said is don't tell me what I am.
Yes.
So I'm hearkening back to Shador. I mean, basically, it doesn't matter what he does or what he doesn't do. The media is going to scrutinize him regardless.
And this is one humble media person's assessment of that whole scenario. The Shador Sanders.
Talking about the meme.
Yeah, the meme. Plus, are they really targeted Shador, or are they actually targeting Prime?
Oh, you know who they targeting? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Shador just happened to
be in the middle. That's right.
So you and I both know what the real deal is, man. I mean, when Prime was able to recruit the #1 player in America at HBCU, let me say that again in case somebody may not have heard that. When Coach Prime was able to recruit the #1 player in the country to an HBCU, all of a sudden, talking about Coach Prime became a target. Wait a minute, this is taking us too fast. I'm talking about perception. This is taking us too fast. We got to slow this down. Let's slow this train down.
And you do know that you see that hat right there. That's Jackson State. You do know when Travis went to Jackson State, He went from a 5-star to a 4-star.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
Because HBCU. But yet you've been a 5-star the entire time. But you went to HBCU and then all of a sudden you're a 4-star.
And well, Coach Saban, I understand.
Everybody wanted them.
Exactly. I mean, and the establishment, these Power Five guys, and the competition, to try to attain his services, were not ready for that. I mean, we lost out to an HBCU.
Right. Do you know many people, I know you know, but many people don't know that Shador was a 4-star. Alabama, Florida State, Florida, Georgia, everybody wanted him. And I think he committed to UCF or somebody like, a passing team. But then when Prime got the job at Jackson State, boom, I'm going to Jackson State. But, moving along.
Of course. I mean, hopefully we address your question, man, because all of it is tied in together, man. All of it is connected.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Mm-mm. I mean, because we can keep going. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes is one of those Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, type individuals, whose father was
Played baseball.
Yeah, exactly. A pitcher, for the Rangers for a few years, Minnesota Twins for a few years, and exposure matters, man. I mean, let's visualize if you were a kid, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and you were exposed to a professional sports locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Where you already can recognize some of the faces in here, man.
Yep.
I mean, and then you are able to play catch with them. If it's baseball, play catch with them, or that matters, man. Exposure matters, man.
Yep.
I'm not saying it goes into your bloodline necessarily, but exposure matters. It counts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in his case, in Mahomes' case, it was in his bloodline too. Plus he had the exposure of being around professional athletes, how they carry themselves. Just being in that environment, man, that matters a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and he got drafted to play baseball.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he was such an exceptional athlete, man. He had his choice. And Russell Wilson. I mean, it's been several guys.
Russell Wilson too, baseball.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. With Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
That's from your area. He's from the Dallas area.
Yeah. Pretty much all these jokers, man, right here in Texas.
And what can I say, man? We produce athletes for the rest of the world.
All right, I got one more because I want to kind of put all of this, like building some gumbo.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson. What do you think about that right there?
A heck of a prospect. With Richardson or anybody else that's coming along in recent years, you might remember, at least I'm old enough to remember, that Peyton Manning, I want to say threw 20 plus interceptions. He had twice as many interceptions as he had touchdowns his rookie year.
Yes, he did.
And nobody put no pressure on him. He's a rookie. He's about to, work his way through it, and it's a learning curve. If you get a guy like Anthony Richardson.
Hold on. Andrew Luck did too.
Okay.
He did too. Now he's the general manager for Stanford. but
Yeah, well,
but he did too his rookie year.
now what do all three of those guys we just mentioned have in common? Peyton
Uh,
Manning, Andrew Luck, and now Anthony Richardson.
high draft picks.
And they all played for the Colts.
100.
I don't know if that's a coincidence or something to do with it, but they all played for the Colts.
Yes.
Yeah, but going back to the Anthony Richardson situation, man, it's like if you don't hit the ground running as a rookie, I mean, it never used to be like that. I mean, they would give you an opportunity to learn the position. I mean, that's a big transition from college to the NFL. And they don't expect for you, to be all pro your rookie year. That's the way it used to be. They used to give you a little time to kind of learn. And in a lot of instances, they used to have, like what Cleveland had with Flacco. They used to have a player like that ahead of you that you can learn from, for the first year or two. And sometimes the first 3 years. I mean, but now, man, if you don't hit the ground running, all of a sudden, man, they wasted a pick on you, man. Where did that come from?
Well, it didn't happen before.
Right.
Now, yeah, you wasted goods. Because you talking about.
Let me give you another example, real quick. Let me give you another example. There was a guy with the Pittsburgh Steelers right before their dynasty named Bradshaw.
Well, he wasn't even the starting quarterback. There was a black dude. There was a Yes. He was the starting quarterback. And then whatever happened with that. Well, we know what happened.
Exactly. It's all connected, man. Regardless of what examples we put into this conversation, all of them are connected together.
Yeah, because he was the starting quarterback. Period. 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 He was starting quarterback. Then all of a sudden, you're not starting. And then Terry Bradshaw, he goes on and then he wins the Super Bowls and all that. But he wasn't that. I mean, you wouldn't have done that without Rocky Bleier, a military guy, Franco Harris, and the wonderful defense that you had. You weren't, in my opinion.
Well, there was some HBCU guys in that mix too.
Oh yeah, Stallworth.
I mean, Stallworth from Alabama A&M on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Lewis from Grambling also on the offensive side. On the defensive side, you may have heard of a guy named Mel Blunt.
100.
Southern University, and a guy that was just inducted to the Black College Football Hall of Fame 2 years ago, I think. Hopefully I have it right. But nonetheless, he played in the same secondary with Mel Blunt. I'm trying to think of my man's name. It escapes me at the time again. I mean, but it was HBCU. Ernie Holmes, he was on.
Yep. The he went to I think he went to Tennessee State.
Ernie Holmes, I went to Texas Southern.
Texas Southern. I'm thinking about Ernie the Cat Ladd. Remember he wrestled?
Yeah, Big Cat. Yeah, now Big Cat is the Grambling guy.
Okay.
The HBCU guy. He went to wrestling after he finished playing football.
Yeah.
But that's another Grambling guy. That's the guy Eddie Robinson, the legendary Grambling coach.
Mm-hmm. Well, my alma mater during his time, that was a no-win. You were not gonna win the game. That just wasn't gonna. Yeah, Jackson State against Graham. That wasn't happening.
Man, we can have a whole show about Eddie Robinson at some point in the future, man. It's so many layers to this dude. I did get a chance to interview him for several years because our eras overlapped. And so I was able to connect with him, a few times, quite a few times, and had a chance to travel. You remember what they used to call the SWAC football media tour?
Mm-hmm.
They used to go from SWAC City to SWAC City. Yeah, I had a chance to take that tour with the black coaches. They would have one or two players from each school, and Eddie Robinson was on that caravan
Yep.
that we wore. So I got a chance to kind of be around him away from the media, where he was amongst his peers, Marino Castle, the W.C. Gordon, and all these kind of guys. And, they were just being themselves. And so I saw the media side of it, and then I saw that side of it too.
So check this out.
Yeah.
Your overall synopsis of the black quarterback, the black defensive back, the black whatever that goes to an HBCU. What separates them from first round pick? This, that, and other. What is it? Is it just HBCU?
Well, it's interesting you brought that question up too. Let's go back to James Shaq Harris and Doug Williams discovering or establishing the Black College Football Hall of Fame. In addition to them doing that, the what they call it, the Legacy Bowl,
Yeah.
the Black College All-Star Game that goes on in New Orleans every year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's televised on the NFL Network. That was one of the benefits of having a partnership with the National Football League, is that they actually televise, their combine, and then they'll televise the game. Excuse me, on the NFL Network. I mean, but part of what goes on in New Orleans, because I've been there every year. I think they've had it for 3 or 4 years now, and every year that they've had it, I've gone down to New Orleans to, kind of connect with what they were doing. And one of the things that they do is they have a combine. They have an HBCU football combine where they invite the scouts around the National Football League to evaluate, the talent of HBCU players that are outgoing, seniors. They, use up all of their eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
And to get them to have a look at by the scouts of the National Football League that ordinarily would not have had a look. And so the scouts can come, instead of, going to Alabama A&M or going to Grambling or going to Jackson State at different times, they can catch all the prospects in one place at one time. And so that was the strategy, of the Black College Football Hall of Fame. That's a division of what they do, is that they wanted that black college football player to have more of an opportunity to be seen by NFL scouts. Because a lot of times it's not that HBCU players can't ball on the level of everybody else. They don't get looked at.
Yep.
And so I said all that to say, I think this is the next year that they have it. It's always in January. January, early February, one of those two times. I won't say early February because it's always around Mardi Gras. That's the thing I can always associate. Find a hotel that Mardi Gras is going on. But to make a long story short, is that that's the purpose that they created it, so the HBCU players can actually be looked at and be evaluated, and the 40 times and these other measurables that they use to determine whether or not this guy is capable. Even if they don't draft it, at least give him a free agent trial. Because now you got a book on it. They didn't have a book on it before. Now you got a book on it. A file or whatever you want to call it. And so I think it's going to take. It should not have taken this long. We're going back to the barriers that the establishment creates when they want to keep you on the outside. But I think as long as they continue to have their combine in New Orleans every year, and for the Legacy Bowl, is that what it's called? the Black College All-Star, whatever it's called, the Black College football All-Star game in New Orleans, the Tulane Stadium. As long as they keep having that, I think you're going to get more and more HBCU football players in the mix. Because you're gonna destroy the excuses.
Right.
Well, we didn't know this guy. We're gonna those barriers. We're gonna start knocking down those barriers.
Yes.
I mean, hopefully that's long-winded. We'll answer your question, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, I still go back to in Mississippi when you're looking at Ole Miss, Mississippi State, USM, and Jackson State has the most Hall of Famers. With those three schools combined, and it's like, okay, so what you talking about?
Exactly. Well, Jackson State, Lombardi, he was the first. The second one was, I want to say, Walter Payton.
Yeah.
Jackie Slater,
Mm-hmm.
came right after Walter, and then of course Robert Brazil.
Yeah.
Was the most recent one in the year 2018. I worked on this Hall of Fame campaign. The reason that I know so much about that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's another show in and of itself at some point in the future, man.
Yeah, we'll wrap on that one.
Yeah, to describe what it takes, man, to start from zero and to get a guy that has been overlooked for 27 years.
Yes.
Of eligibility, 27 years of eligibility before we finally got him in. And that's another subject for another day.
And I give you one, and it's a good friend of mine from elementary that's next, and that's Jimmy Smith.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith is definitely a candidate that should be in that mix. Now, when you start talking about wide receivers, one of the things, like a guy like Otis Taylor, if you remember Otis Taylor, Kansas City, okay. A guy like him that was a dominant player in his era when they ran the ball twice as much as they passed the ball.
Yeah.
And so, you look at Otis Taylor's credentials, and then you look at Jimmy Smith, or anybody that came from a passing era's credentials, and then they don't even look like they should be on the same page. I mean, but you can only dominate the era that you played in.
And exactly.
It should not be counted against you that you didn't play in the passing era.
Exactly. Well, check this out. I want you to tell everybody, because we'll wrap in the morning, afternoon, but I want you to tell everybody how they can get in contact with you. I know how to get in contact with you, but how can everybody get in contact with you? Your business and everything that you do.
Yeah, well, that's I kind of steered toward my website. It's the sports website, LennyMoonSports.com. All one word. Lenny Lenny Moon MOON Sports SPORTS.com. All one word, and that's how I communicate with a lot of sports enthusiasts, like you and I. And there's a place where you can always drop me a line, and also my YouTube site that I have. I get some messages that way too, to my YouTube channel. And so those two, LennyMoonSports.com, the primary one, and I would persuade people to actually delve into that website. I mean, because there are some stories that you'll see that you probably won't see anywhere else. It's a small possibility you'll see it anywhere else, but it's some stories pertaining to subject matters that I've experienced face to face during my career, which is almost 40 years now.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all need to check this dude out now. I'm just telling you.
Man, I mean, I'm just proud to know Kevin Dorsey's of the world, man. I mean, I'm just trying to hang with these kind of guys, man.
Hey, this guy right here, again, y'all need to check him out. He right around the corner from me, but he all over the country. So when he's saying hit me up on that email, cause you don't know where he is, and I ain't giving you no number. Cause this dude right here, he all over the country. But luckily, I'm able to catch him. But Lenny, hey man,
Yes, sir.
it's been a pleasure. And to my people, this is just the beginning because there's so much more that we've already spoken about that we just can't talk about right now. We have just, there's not enough time. But
Well, we can break it up into pieces, man. We can break it up into pieces.
exactly.
And,
Do,
you know, like you mentioned, you made a gumbo reference earlier. You thought I didn't hear that. You made a gumbo reference earlier.
sure did.
And so you're not gonna eat the whole pot of gumbo in one setting. Man, that gumbo is a big old pot of gumbo, man. We're gonna come back a few times, man, and invite some of the folks, man, to get some of it too.
That's right. All right, Lenny, I'm going to ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
And this is your final word, and I'm going to give you mine.
Okay.
Colorado, TCU.
Excellent matchup. Excellent matchup. At this stage of the season, man, it seems like they're two evenly matched teams. I'm still trying to figure out how did Colorado lose that game last weekend. I mean, I hadn't watched all of it yet. To be honest with you, I have to take some of this stuff, man, and just watching the pieces. And I hadn't watched all of the Colorado game. I mean, you have to tell me how they lost that game.
I don't know, bro.
Okay.
I don't know.
You know, but Colorado and TCU, who's the home team within that matchup?
TCU.
I think that would be the edge. I think that would be the edge, man, by 3 to 5 points.
Yeah, I think I forgot the point spread. But I remember I was at the game in 23, and I think Colorado was uh, it was like they were going to lose by 23 points. If they play like they did last week,
Okay.
you scored 14 points straight up. If they play that particular way, but you have to be a dog. You know, you can't be sitting there and, oh, we got a lead. All is well. Now, when you beating somebody's tail, and that's like being in a grudge match. That's like when the bully is on you. And if you get a chance to knock the bully down, you keep knocking the bully down. You don't let up. You look for blood. Sorry, uh, my Facebook followers. But when you get that opportunity, you kick rear end and you don't stop until it's over. That's
So 2 people walked into the room, but only 1 person walked out. That's what you said.
100.
How does that follow?
100. I mean, because here's the deal. Too often you play the game, you up, and then you like, oh, okay, we can take it easy now. But you can't do that. When you beat them and you beat them and you beat them. there's no let up. Man, I can go political with that. I mean, hey, look at the political climate that we're in right now.
When she was saying that earlier, it reminded me of a conversation a few days ago pertaining to Holyfield and Tyson.
We talked about that. Yep.
Yeah, okay, I know you I was talking to. The same kind of example, man. One of the biggest edges that Tyson, since we're talking about boxing at the time, but anybody that portrays themselves as a pro, one of the biggest things that can happen in that confrontation is you bust that mouth first. And after you bust that mouth, man, you stay busting that mouth. You started off busting the right side. Okay, let me bust the left side.
Right.
So it could be a pair. And so, in Holyfield's case, man, Holyfield was one of the first persons that was not afraid of the bully.
Yeah, but you interviewed him.
Yeah, I did.
Talk about that real quick before we end this.
Well, I interviewed Holyfield so many times, man, so I kind of got to the point where I had a pretty good feel for him. Holyfield, although we talked about the heavyweight division where he met Mike Tyson, Holyfield was actually a light heavyweight cruiserweight at the most.
Right.
And a cruiserweight might be up to 200 pounds. That might be cut off from the cruiserweight. I mean, but that was his physically, that was his comfort zone. But to make real money, as a fighter, he was forced to go up. And so just a summary about Holyfield. Holyfield had the makeup to where I think he would have gotten into the ring with King Kong. And he was fearless, man. Some people are just fearless, man. And that was just who he was. And if King Kong got is having a better night, he just having a better night. I just lost that thing. That was his mindset, man. And so he wasn't gonna be afraid of nobody Tyson. And so a big part of what gave Tyson his edge before the fight started, any of his fights started, was that they were already intimidated by him. They felt like, if Mike hits me, shit, man, I'm supposed to be falling.
Right.
No, but Holyfield was a beast, man. Holyfield had the heart of a lion.
Oh yeah.
There's not too many people that were walking around like that.
Oh yeah, 100. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is the first of many. This guy right here, I know some sports, but he knows way more than I do. And don't forget Lenny Moon's Sports. Check him out. He .com, y'all. .com. LennyMoonSports.com. Check him out. He right there in Houston.
Yes, sir.
He right there in Houston. Check him out. Don't be square. Please check him out. It says Black College Football Hall of Fame. I didn't put it on there just to put it on there. If you don't believe me, look it up. That's all you gotta do. Look it up. But he and we're gonna continue to do our collab and just talk about whatever. Because Colorado plays tomorrow, and hopefully Sunday or either Monday we'll get a chance to talk about the Colorado game and the Cleveland game, because I'm interested to see what DG gonna do. So that'll give him an opportunity to look, and we wrap. But once again, this is KD at KDRF Sports TV. And don't forget to look up Lenny Moon Sports.com. And I'm out and I'm still getting jiggy with it. Oh, yeah. That ain't Hulk Hogan. I'm out, Lenny.
All right, man. Peace.
All right. Take care.